if you're feeling lost or you're not sure where to go, one of the best questions you can ask is, do I need to know more or do I need to use what I know better? Right? That's a powerful question in there. And the first time I heard that, I thought immediately of the second half of that, use what I know better. And I think so often when we're struggling or we're feeling lost or we're trying to figure out a way that we can make the changes and achieve the goals that we want to in our life, it's very easy to jump to a new book or jump to another program or get a new coach or dive into something new because that new feeling, that honeymoon feeling, it feels really good. You get that dopamine rush, you get that sense of hope, like, oh, this is going to be my savior. This is what I'm going to, this is what's going to help me out the most. When in reality, oftentimes it's not about learning more and just diving into getting more knowledge. It's using what you already know, but using it better. So it's diving deeper, getting deeper into foundational practices, getting deeper into those principle-based programs and just doing it for more time. Success takes time. It takes effort. It takes day in and day out consistency. And as I thought about this question a lot, I thought, like, why did this hit me so much? And what I realized is I think it's a way of taking something where we're looking externally out from us and then moving it internally. Okay. And that's something I believe in. I do believe that everything that we need to succeed is already within us. We just need to unveil it. We don't need to create. It's oftentimes we need to eliminate things that distract us, move us off the focus and the attention that we need to give something that's going to give us the benefits that we're truly looking for. Okay. So that's where I got a lot of this on. But the second part of it, I thought it's actually just a really good question because it could be times where, yes, you do need to know more. Like the first part of that question is really important. It's really powerful. And I was just reading some stuff in like the Tao Te Ching because I do my weekend Tao, and it talks about, knowing others is important and it's great knowledge, but knowing yourself is truly powerful. And like, I get that. But the second part of that is, well, how do you learn to know yourself? It's actually an interesting question because if you've never done something before that you're trying to do, you don't know the right way. You don't know how to trust your gut or trust your intuition. So if you say know yourself or do what is best, what feels best for you, well, you have no reference point on that. You have no means of, knowing what is best for you. And this was a trap that I felt myself get into at a point last year where I went so deep down the side of intuitive training, and I still believe it's one of the most powerful things that you can do to sustain strength and build self-awareness and continue on the path of growth and the path of mastery. However, it needs to be built on a foundation of principles, which is discipline. Sometimes it's just following a plan over and over again, getting through the seasons of doing it when it's easy in your schedule, doing it when things are getting thrown at you, and still, getting those principles down. And I didn't realize that I did that for many years before I really started doing intuitive training. And I think I built a good foundation so I could do it. But at the point I was thinking, I was like, this sounds really awesome. This is a really interesting niche to dive into. And started talking about intuitive training with a lot of people who didn't go through those beginner steps, building that discipline, building those habits up. So it was kind of falling on deaf ears in many ways because we didn't build those foundational things. So I think that the concept of know thyself or doing what's best for you, yeah, it gives you like a good warm feeling. It's like a cozy feeling, right? It's like, yes, everything I need is within me. And I get that. I totally understand it. And there's a emotion that can come out of that of know thyself. But again, if you don't know how to do that, if you don't really know where these things are coming from, then that could be a very lost moment. So that's why I think this question is so good. It's like, do I need to know more or do I need to use what I know better? It depends on, where you're at in different stages. So I think if you're at a very beginning stage of a strength journey or starting a new venture or so, yeah, maybe you need to know more. Maybe you need to learn these things. You need to build some knowledge base up. Robert Greene in his book Mastery calls it the apprenticeship phase where you're gaining knowledge. Then you move into the creative active phase where then you take that knowledge and then you figure out the best creative way that works personally for you. But you need to build that foundation first. And it felt like a trap that I got into for a bit. And, luckily I thought of these things for a bit and I learned them. And, I built a different path, and I think it's worked really well, specifically over the last, few months or so of getting in. But it's a powerful question. And the last thing I'll say on that is, like, if you do feel like you need to know more, like, but you want to like look internal, like know thyself, build that intuition, like where do we start from, right? And I think one of the best things you can do is to start with, what are your values? Like, what are those core values that you have? It's like, what are the things that you truly value in your life? I think that's one of the essences of goal setting. It's not just like, I want to drop this amount of weight, or I want to get this strong, or I want to make this much money in the business. Like, what are those things that you value the most? So then as you're gaining knowledge or you're trying new things to figure out if it is the best thing for you, you're funneling through your values. Like, what are they?